Sonal, we have very key people powering India's digital story. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on Powering Bharat Summit. And Mr. Abhishek Singh, I also wanted to congratulate you on your additional portfolio, now also Director General of the National Informatics Center, which is sort of the hub when it comes to improving, expanding on India's digital public services. A huge round of applause for all our guests. If I can start with you, Mr. Abhishek Singh, India's success story in digital public infrastructure is well documented when it comes to Aadhaar, when it comes to UPI, when it comes to DigiLocker. I don't think any of us can even think about functioning without some of these pivotal technologies. What next? Because you're also lead of the India AI mission. The government recently picked a startup to build India's first foundational model. Its answer to the OpenAIs and the DeepSeeks of the world. Are we behind the curve? Are we, well on course to establish India when it comes to an AI hub?
Thank you for the introduction. Yes, DPI is something in which we have shown the leadership to the world with regard to how technologies can be used for improving governance, enabling access to services. When it comes to AI, yes, if we compare ourselves to US and China, we are behind them, but we are already have taken steps under the India AI mission to ensure that we build a layer of AI over our DPI story and ensure that our services become more accessible and they are available in all Indian languages and more importantly through voice. So we have provisioned availability of compute, we are working on applications, and we are also working on foundation models. And what I believe is that India's foundation model, for which one company has already been identified and several others are working on it, the process of evaluations is ongoing. So India's foundation model will primarily be much different from what the world has seen. It will primarily be a voice-driven LLM, and it will enable the remaining 500 million people who are not able to access services because they are not comfortable browsing a portal or going to an app and downloading. They will be able to access services through voice. So farmers and people in the rural areas, if they can make a query on a feature phone or a toll-free number and then use the APIs, the Bhashini APIs and the LLMs that will be developed in India, and if they are able to access those services, that will be the real value addition that will happen. So what I am confident about is that the work that will happen in the field of AI will ensure that we are able to catch up with those who are ahead. We will no longer be behind.
Right. We also have the Joint Secretary of DPIIT, Mr. Sanjiv Singh, with us. Thank you very much, sir. DPIIT has played a vital role when it comes to encouraging startups, boosting startups, improving the ease of doing business. But in the next phase, what can we expect in terms of creating more deep tech startups, frontier tech startups? Because if there is one thing that the last 2 weeks have taught us, the entire India-Pakistan face-off, it's the power of the Indian drone tech startups that came to the fore. Companies like IdaForge working with the armed forces. So, what else can we expect in terms of spurring innovation, creating a deep tech ecosystem in India?
Thank you, Chandra. In fact, you have asked a very relevant question, what next? Probably 8 years back, nobody knew about startup.
So can you just, hold up the mic. Yeah.
8 years back, nobody knew about Startup India. And now Startup India is a movement, and we are actively looking forward to promote startup ecosystem, especially working with the ecosystem in respect of deep tech. We have many stakeholder consultation, and the first challenge was how to define the deep tech in itself, because it is such a constantly changing definition. Something which is deep tech today, mobile was deep tech in 1990s, and now it is common thing. So we have been in very active consultation with the industry. Meanwhile, we are coming up with the enhanced credit guarantee scheme for the startups, and also fund of fund 2, where we will be putting up special incentives for deep tech industry. And also we are working on to make center of excellence to promote research and development for startups, because we understand that deep tech is only possible through a very good understanding between industry and academia, and in that respect, DPIIT has been following the best practices of the world. We are actively pursuing, I will say, the corporate houses to sign MOU with us so that they can promote startups, especially in manufacturing and deep tech. And in fact, my co-panelist will be soon signing a MOU to mentor and promote startups.
Tell us about this MOU.
This is okay. This is referring to me. So Deloitte actually works with a lot of startups and a lot of corporates as their partners. So one of the initiatives that we are talking to the DPIIT is how do we sign an MOU in which we become an extended arm to them, and in our own ecosystem we promote the startups in the manufacturing and the deep tech. So that's the MOU all about.
Right. Mr. Singh, I'm sure you also, come across many fascinating startups at the intersect of deep tech, drone tech, space. Again, what is the missing link there? Is it patient capital, the kind of venture capital that we see in the Valley? Because here, consumer startups end up getting a lion's share of the capital, because building hardware, building hard tech is hard. It takes years before you can see some fruition there. So is that the missing link? What else can we do as an ecosystem to produce the next, say, a BYD from India?
See, as you rightly said, patient capital is the key. It's very, very important to ensure that we are able to invest in R&D, research and development, focus on developing IPs, and then kind of monetize it. And all that process takes a lot of time. If you look at all the top companies across the world, they have invested a lot in R&D. The second challenge that we have in India is our inability to retain the best of our talent. Most of our talented youngsters go out and build companies elsewhere. Like, for example, look at the example of Arvind Srinivas. He graduated from IIT Madras as recent as 2017, and he went ahead and built a company called Perplexity.
Yeah.
So there are many such Indians who are contributing to most of the top-end companies in the West, in the US, like OpenAI or Google or Microsoft. All of them have like substantial number of Indian minds working there. So what can we do to attract such talent back to India? What can we do to provide funding support? So the DPIITs which was announced in the budget, the Deep Tech Startup Fund of Funds, MeitY's India AI Mission. What we are seeing is that even in the foundation model, we got several proposals from Indians in the US who are wanting to come back and set up companies here. Similarly, in the semiconductor space, the Design Linked Incentive Scheme, we are seeing many top minds from US wanting to relocate, pull together talent and try to invest in that. If we are able to provide such funding, but such funding only from government will not work. We'll need to ensure that the private sector also starts investing in the research. We'll need to ensure that our angel investors, the VCs, they also start believing in the capability that we can have a country. And if we all work together and provide such funding support and be able to attract our talent back, then maybe we'll be able to do much more than what we are doing presently.
Right. Mr. Murty, as a consultant on the panel, what is your own take? Are there still, do we still have a long way to go before improving the ease of doing business? Because startups, entrepreneurs still feel that it's painful in terms of the number of licenses they need to take for every business in India.
So EODB is a difficult question to answer. But let me actually put it into the positive and the negative. The positive part of it is what Abhishek ji and Sanjiv ji already said, that there is a fund of funds available, there is an intent, and there is a demand creation which government has done. In most of the other countries, demand creation is done by the corporate and government doesn't participate in that. In this case, the demand creation has been done by the government. So from a perspective of startup looking at a project or a business in India, it's a really great place to be. The only place I think where we are still struggling, we are still trying to put the pieces in place, is the contracting. India is extremely weak in managing contracts and adhering to the contracts and the T's and C's of the contract. And there are progressive ways in which government is handling that, but once that is also done, the corporates as well as startups will be much more happier if the contract and contracting management is much more efficiently handled.
Right. Mr. Singh, you are someone who has looked and worked closely on PLI, especially the white goods PLI. What do you make of Trump's comments as far as Apple is concerned? Is this a concern? Will India continue to be one of the top markets for Apple? Because I was just reading a report which said India now contributes to 20% of their global manufacturing, producing tens of millions of iPhones a year. Do you think those remarks will dampen Apple's plans?
I will just like to say that I look after white good PLI and white good PLI is doing very well, and I must say that all of you would be aware that till this PLI came into light, there were not a single compressors were being made in India. Now we are making 6 million compressors each year, and probably by 2027 we will be...
A huge round of applause for that. 6 million compressors a year from...
And we will be self-sufficient in air conditioners, and actually it is a matter of great pride for the country how the industry rose up to the occasion, and it is not the big names, many of the companies whose name you would not have heard, and now they are the superstars developing new technology, and our compressors in terms of efficiency is as good as any other compressors made anywhere in the world.
Right, right. So, but if I can ask you a follow-up, India's, with respect to FTAs, India is also looking to lower tariffs via proposed FTAs with Western economies. So how does one balance that with, our own Make in India vision and ambitions?
Actually, now I also look after almost 3,000 HSN code products. So when these negotiations are going on, for each and every item, the line ministry is asked to give their comments, and these comments are furnished after taking the response of the concerned stakeholders, concerned association. So we think that at DPIIT we look to promote the interest of our domestic manufacturers, but at the same time in any FTA it is both give and take for any country, because then there will be no negotiations.
Right. Mr. Singh, I just want to ask you, with your recent appointment as the Director General of NIC, what strategies are you looking at to expand and improve digital public services? Are there plans to perhaps develop new platforms, upgrade existing ones? Like, what will be the next DigiLocker, the next UPI, the next Aadhaar for India?
See, instead of looking at what will be the next digital public infrastructure, there are already a lot of projects which are ongoing, which will be there. But as far as NIC is concerned, NIC is the technology arm of the government. It has presence in almost all Government of India departments. It has presence in all states. It has presence in all districts. We have a NIC office in all districts. They provide tech support to every public office in the country. So to that extent, its role is very far and wide, and they kind of manage the entire government infrastructure, the data centers, the networks, the applications, the cyber security of all these. And in the last few weeks, we saw increased amount of attacks on the whole infrastructure, and the teams worked like day in and day out and ensured that our resilient infrastructure did not yield, and we had no such incident of anything getting breached, or but it required a lot of effort. The number of attacks really went up. So the NIC...
Was this during the India-Pakistan situation where people were trying to breach?
The last 2 weeks, what we say, increased interest. So we are continuing to strengthen that arm for that. So the policy of NIC going ahead is that all the sovereign functions, all the important states where the cyber security is involved, or the government functioning, email, e-office, video conferencing, such infrastructure will be, data centers will be maintained by NIC, but all such services which can be outsourced to the private sector will involve the private sector in implementing those applications. So we have reached that level of maturity, and when we build these applications, say in education or healthcare or rural development or skilling or agriculture, they all will ride on the DPI that has been built in. So the approach is to enable access to the common core infrastructure that we have built open up the APIs wherever it's a non-strategic sector, involve the startups and the private sector to use the APIs to build applications and deliver more efficient services. So that way will be the new role of NIC as we move forward.
Right. And will we see more AI adoption across government departments? Is that already happening the way DPIIT functions, or, I mean, MeitY though, of course, but across government departments, will we see more AI adoption, and in what ways, sir? Yes.
We are actively using AI. In fact, for all the startups, we are making a platform called Bhaskar, which will provide single stop solution for all startups regarding their search for anything related to a startup, including their requirement for investor connect, to find mentors, to find course material, and which will be driven by AI. And AI is now a fact of life, and it is for us to use it as an instrument to provide good and better services to the all stakeholders. So we are in a big way bringing up AI in our Bhaskar platform, and hopefully it will be very beneficial for the startup ecosystem.
Right.
Yeah, we are seeing increasing adoption of AI across the government. Like, for example, the NIC team has built a platform called Ligra, which is a legal aid tool which the courts are using. It's helping it to summarize petitions, summarize judgments. It also helps, it has been already launched by Chief Justice of India in 2 or 3 high courts. Already they are using it. It also helps in, like, whenever a new petition comes in, it will analyze and pull together if there is any high court judgment which is there, or Supreme Court judgment on the same topic. Similarly, we are seeing the use of Bhashini is increasing across all domains. The Parliament has also started using Bhashini for translating the debates which are there, the discussions which are there, the bills which are there, more public grievances, CP grams. So if you look at DRPG, they have now enabled citizens can file grievances in any language, and that can be read by those who are disposing in the language of their choice. If you look at agriculture, they are implementing a project called Vistar, which is ensuring that farmers are getting advisories in their mother tongue with regard to whatever queries that they have. Healthcare, we have seen applications which in AI can be used for diagnosing diseases, for monitoring epidemics, for monitoring what's going on across. If you look at I4C, the MHA's cybercrime, they are using AI for classifying various cyber crimes that they get. Recently, we launched a hackathon in partnership with Ministry of Mines, wherein we have called for startups to build solutions for using AI for discovering new minerals and finding out. And a lot of data from various sectors are being made available on the AI Kosh platform that we have built. Almost 400 data sets are there. We have seen heavy adoption. Almost 50,000 users are accessing that platform, downloading the data, using it for building AI applications. So what I do believe is that in the next few months, various government departments are adopting AI. In fact, there was a demand for enabling use of Gen AI for as a productivity tool. So that also has been enabled. Llama 3, the open source Meta's LLM, has been hosted on the Rawat infrastructure on CDAC Pune's Rawat supercomputers, and that Llama 3 can be used for fine-tuning and for inferencing applications. So that way, we are seeing a lot of interest across government departments, and MeitY, India AI Mission, and NIC is providing all necessary support for departments to get on to the AI bandwagon.
Right. Mr. Murty, you heard two high-ranking officials in different ministries on the usage of AI. So if the government is going all in on AI and the private sector is already doubling down, what larger implications will this have for India in terms of productivity, in terms of employment, in terms of becoming the use case capital?
So, as I said, India is one of the different countries where the demand creation has been done by the government and in various sectoral ways. So the skills which are to be imparted to the kids, from the engineering to graduates or even the chartered accountants who are actually doing, that actually will enhance the way in which the various activities at the corporate level are going to happen. For example, the audit quality will improve because I'm using an AI for doing that. The investments the government is doing to create those projects will help the corporates to get into, understand that, fine-tune those models, look at those models, and also use the same set of use cases for outside. I'll give an example. Bhashini. perfect example where speech to text and all those multiple areas on 22 different languages or 24 are happening are similarly can be used for our automotive sector, can be used for financial services, insurance. Customer grievance or a citizen grievance are almost similar. In fact, there is an SLA component here, there is an SLA component there also. But here the SLA component in the corporate sector is also linked to a financial penalty also, right? So the ability to use Bhashni, and that's what we as a firm, we have signed up with Bhashni as our implementation partners. We are now working towards seeing how it can be deployed for a non-government industry vertical and how do we build that piece. That's something is going on. Now for doing that, I need to thereafter start investing in skilling and training the resources on this platform and taking it further. Not everyone would be on the Bhashni, there will be few on Sarvam, there will be few on some other platform. So as long as there is a demand, the corporates will start investing into more and more skills on the AI to build that. That's part one. Part two is, I'm going back a couple of years. I was with the Ford Mobility Services here, and this was about the autonomous vehicles. So we were actually saying autonomous vehicles needs tons of data to learn how to actually drive. India was I laughingly said India is the use capital because you can see the vehicles moving up and down on the same road without actually looking at traffic. So you can have a US and the European way of driving behavior at the same place in India. So because data is, the same will apply on the other use cases which require data to prove the or correctness of that use case or the application of that use case. India is the perfect example, and that's what we are also looking at various other use cases to or data points to answer. Multi-brand car servicing setup. Where do I need to set it up in a city? The answer can be given by, if I look at whole area where the construction is happening, what kind of a socioeconomic population is going to move there, how many vehicles are going to ply, what type of vehicles are going to ply, because the housing is a luxury or a low end. All depends upon how do I house it. So everything has a connect back, but I think the genesis or the start, the seeding has been done by government. It's responsibility of the corporate to take it forward.
Great, great. On that note, great insights. Thank you so much, Mr. Sanjiv Singh, Mr. Abhishek Singh, and Mr. Murty on India's path towards technology, towards AI, and how the government is really playing a vital part in this mission. Thank you very much for your insights. A huge round of applause for our speakers.